I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to get played like this, but here I am, trying to piece together what the hell just happened. My name's Mike, and I was with my wife, Lisa, for about 3 years. We were planning our wedding, and honestly, I thought everything was perfect, at least on the surface. She was charming, confident, the kind of girl who always seemed to have a comeback or a witty remark ready. But recently, I started noticing little things. She'd be sassy more often, snapping at me over tiny stuff, and sometimes she'd disappear for hours without explaining where she was. I brushed it off as stress, work, or maybe just her being busy. But then something changed. Lisa started dressing a little more provocative, more attention-grabbing. She was wearing tighter dresses, and I caught her flirting with other guys a few times at gatherings. I told myself I was being paranoid, that maybe I was overthinking it. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. My gut told me to pay attention, even if my head kept dismissing it. The real turning point came when I was visiting my parents' house. Our wedding was only a week away, and I just wanted to drop off some stuff. I never imagined that this visit would turn my whole world upside down. I was walking around, helping my mom in the kitchen when I saw Lisa's purse on the couch. I went to grab it to put it aside, and that's when I noticed a lipstick smudge I didn't recognize. It was bright red, bold, definitely not mine, and it looked brand new. My heart started pounding. I opened her purse, and there it was, a pack of condoms a little crumpled in the corner. I froze, my mind raced, I felt sick. This was no accident, no misunderstanding. She'd been hiding something big, and I knew then she'd been cheating on me. My stomach clenched, my palms got sweaty. I didn't even need to dig further, the evidence was right there. It was so obvious, so brutal. How could she lie? How could she look me in the eye and pretend everything was fine? I waited until she came back from her errand, and when she entered the room, I just looked at her, silent. She saw that look in my eyes, and I saw the flicker of guilt, but she quickly recovered her usual bitchy attitude and threw a flippant shrug. "Oh, it's nothing," she said, trying to brush it off. "You're overreacting, Mike. You're being paranoid. Maybe it's someone else. Maybe I just borrowed it from a friend." Her tone was dismissive, almost mocking. She was acting like I was crazy for even bringing it up. I couldn't believe she was lying so brazenly. I wanted to scream, to confront her, but I just stood there, furious and hurt beyond words. How could she be so cold? How could she keep lying? I knew I'd have to face her, ask her what the hell was going on, but I was already feeling the betrayal cutting so deep that I wasn't sure if I'd ever come back from it. That moment, standing there with her smirking like she hadn't just been caught red-handed, I realized my trust was shattered. Everything I thought I knew about her was a lie. And I knew with absolute certainty that the woman I was about to confront wasn't the girl I fell in love with. The question now was, how do I handle what comes next? I didn't say a word for a minute. I just looked at her, trying to process what I was seeing, what I was feeling. My mind was racing, and the pain was like a punch to the gut. I had been so blind, so convinced that she loved me, that I was about to marry a woman I could trust. But now I wasn't so sure anymore. She was standing there, acting like she hadn't just been caught with her hand in the cookie jar, and honestly, it made me want to scream. Finally, I managed to get out, "Lisa, what the hell is this?" My voice was hoarse, trembling with anger and disbelief. She rolled her eyes and crossed her arms, giving me a look that was equal parts boredom and defiance. "Oh, come on, Mike. You're being so dramatic, it's just a little fun. You know I love you, right? I wouldn't do something stupid to ruin everything we've built." Her tone was dismissive, like I was overreacting to a trivial thing. I couldn't believe how she was lying so easily, so confidently. It made my stomach churn. I pointed at the condoms in her purse, trying to keep my voice steady. "That's not just a little fun, Lisa, that's cheating. You've been screwing around behind my back. How long has this been going on?" I felt my hands trembling, my mind trying to grasp the reality of what just happened. I was supposed to be getting married in a week, and now I was standing here, faced with a woman who didn't even bother to deny it. She scoffed, took a step closer, and rolled her eyes. "Look, Mike, I don't know what you want me to say. Maybe I got bored, maybe I was just testing boundaries. Honestly, I don't even know, it was just sex, okay? It didn't mean anything. We're still getting married, aren't we? So why are you making such a big deal out of this?" Her words hit me like a slap. She acted like she was the victim, like I was overreacting. But I knew better. I knew she was lying, just trying to minimize her betrayal. My mind was spinning. I wanted to believe she was just trying to downplay it, but the truth was right there, staring me in the face. I was supposed to trust her, to believe she loved me, but how could I with this? How could I forgive her for this? I thought about all those nights she'd been secretive, all the times she'd snapped at me and avoided my questions. I thought about her changing her wardrobe, her flirty attitude. And now I knew why. Because she'd been sneaking around, fucking my best friend Tom, actually right in my own family's house. That detail hit me hard. Tom, the guy I'd known since college, who I always trusted, was the one she'd been screwing. My mind kept circling back to that image of them kissing, hidden behind the curtains, probably laughing at how stupid I'd be to not see it coming. How many times had they been together? How long had it been going on? These questions didn't even have clear answers, but I knew they were real. I could feel it in my bones. I looked at her and felt an overwhelming mix of rage, heartbreak, and betrayal. How could she do this to me? How could she lie through her teeth? I wanted to shake her, to scream at her, to make her admit everything. But instead, I just stood there, silent. For a long moment, I could feel the blood pounding in my ears like I was about to burst. And in that silence, I realized I had a choice. I could confront her or I could walk away. I knew what I wanted, but I also knew I'd have to face the consequences of whatever I decided. After what felt like forever, I finally managed to steady my voice, though it still trembled with a mixture of rage and heartbreak. You think this is just sex, Lisa. You think it's just a little fun. Do you even realize what you've done? You've been screwing around with my best friend Tom behind my back, in my family's house, right before we're supposed to get married. Do you know how much that hurts? How much that shatters everything I thought I knew about us? She rolled her eyes again, that same bitchy smirk plastered on her face, like I was overreacting or somehow the one making a big deal. Oh, please, Mike. She sneered. You're acting like I slept with the guy in your bed or something. It was just sex, and honestly, it didn't mean anything. You're making it into a bigger deal than it is. Her voice was falsely sweet, but I could see the contempt behind her eyes. She was trying to dismiss it, playing the victim, trying to make me feel like I was overreacting. I felt my fists clench. My mind was racing, trying to understand how she could be so cold, so casual about what she had done. I thought about all the times I had trusted her, all the days I had spent building a future with her. And now I was sitting here, realizing that she had been lying, cheating, and sneaking around in the very place I thought was safe. Our home, her home, the place where I thought we were building something real. I took a step back, trying to process everything. My voice cracked as I spoke again. You don't get to just brush this off. You lied to me. You flirted with Tom in front of everyone, and then you fuck him in my family's house, right under my nose. How am I supposed to trust you after that? How am I supposed to look at you the same way? Her eyes flicked away for a second, like she was trying to find an excuse, some way out of this mess. But there was no way out. I'd seen the proof, the condoms, the lipstick, her betrayal plain as day, and I wasn't going to let her manipulate her way out of this. I felt a strange numbness settle over me as I realized I was about to lose what I thought was the love of my life. I'd always believed Lisa was confident, strong, maybe a little bitchy sometimes, but I never imagined she'd do something so stupid, so cruel. And Tom, my best friend, how could he do that? How could he betray our friendship like that? Those two had been close, sharing everything, and now I knew he'd been sneaking behind my back too. The betrayal was layered and brutal, and I felt it all crashing down at once. I looked at her again, her smirk still in place, and in that moment something inside me snapped. I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. The pain was too much, and I had to confront her, not just about what she did, but about who she really was. I had trusted her, I had loved her. And now I was faced with a choice: fight for what's left or walk away and try to pick up the pieces of my shattered trust. The things I thought were real, my future, my happiness, my love, had all been thrown into question. And honestly, I didn't even know who I was anymore. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady, but inside I was boiling. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "You're a liar, Lisa. You've been lying to me this whole time." I trusted you, believed in us, and now I see you're just a bitch who sleeps around, cheats, and manipulates. How long has this been going on? How many times have you fucked Tom? Did he do you better than I ever could?" My voice cracked toward the end, but I didn't care. I needed her to hear how much she'd hurt me. Her smirk faltered for a second, but then she threw her head back and scoffed. "Oh, really? Now you're blaming Tom. You're unbelievable, Mike. You act like I cheated on you with him just because I was bored or whatever. Honestly, it was just sex. You've got to get over it. If you're going to start throwing accusations around, maybe you should look at yourself first." Her words, so dismissive, so full of disdain, made my stomach turn. It was like she was trying to make me the crazy one to justify her actions. I couldn't believe she was still trying to spin this. She was trying to make me feel like I was overreacting, like I was the problem. But I knew better. I knew what I saw, what I felt. My mind kept flashing back to their kiss, the way she whispered to him when she thought I wasn't looking, how she looked at him differently than she looked at me. I felt a deep, gnawing ache inside, like I'd lost part of myself already. And then it hit me. She was going to lie her way out of this, just like she'd done with everything else for the past few weeks. But I wasn't going to be fooled anymore. I was done being the fool. I had loved her, yes, but now I saw her for what she really was, a selfish, manipulative woman who'd rather screw around and lie than face the truth. "Tell me, Lisa," I said, voice harder now, "was it always like this? Were you cheating while we were planning our wedding? Were you lying about everything just to keep up appearances? Or was I just not enough for you?" My heart was pounding in my chest. Every word I spat out felt like a punch to her face, but I didn't care anymore. I needed her to know that I was done. That I was done pretending she was innocent, that I was done trusting her. Her eyes narrowed and she looked at me like I was the biggest idiot on the planet. "You really want to go there, Mike? You're insecure, you're paranoid, and now you're trying to turn this around on me. Please, this is just a mistake and I'll fix it. You're making a big deal out of nothing." She moved closer, her voice lowering to a sneer. "You're just insecure because I look better than your boring ass. Tom's better in bed anyway. You're overreacting as usual. This isn't a big deal." That was it. The last straw. Hearing her say those things, dismissing everything I just uncovered, made my blood boil. I realized I couldn't keep playing this game, this farce she called a relationship. I felt numb and furious all at once. How could she be so callous? How could she say those things after everything? I looked at her and knew I had to make a choice. Either I walked away, broken inside but free, or I stayed and let her keep lying to my face, pretending it was all okay. But I already knew the answer. I was done. The silence between us grew heavy, thick with unspoken words and the weight of everything I had just learned. I stared at her, Lisa, the woman I loved, the woman I was about to marry, and saw her for what she really was: selfish, manipulative, and completely untrustworthy. I felt a strange mix of relief and dread. Relief because I finally saw her true face, and dread because I knew this was the end of everything I thought was real. I took a step back, trying to gather my thoughts. My hands were trembling, but I forced myself to speak clearly. "You know what, Lisa? I don't even know who you are anymore. I trusted you, believed in us, and you've been lying, cheating, and probably screwing Tom in my own house. I can't do this anymore. I can't stay with someone who doesn't respect me or our relationship." My voice cracked, but I refused to let her see me break. She looked at me with that same smirk, like she was already planning her next move. "Oh, so you're just going to walk away after all we've been through, just like that?" She sneered. "You're overreacting, Mike. This doesn't mean anything. You're acting like I slept with the guy in our bed or something. Calm down." Her words cut deep like a knife twisting in my chest. I couldn't believe how she was twisting everything, trying to make herself look innocent. I clenched my fists. "No, Lisa, you're the one who's been lying. You've been cheating on me with Tom in my house behind my back. And you're trying to pretend it's no big deal. You're trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm crazy. But I see through you now. I saw the condoms, the lipstick, the way you look at him. I can't stay with a woman who's so damn selfish, who manipulates everything to cover her own ass." Eyes flashed with anger, but she quickly masked it with that bitchy smirk again. "You're overreacting, Mike. Maybe if you weren't so insecure, you'd see that I still love you. This was just a mistake. I swear it's never going to happen again. Just give me a chance to fix this." She stepped closer, trying to look innocent, but I saw the desperation behind her eyes. She was panicking, trying to save what was left of her lies. I shook my head, feeling defeated and furious all at once. "No, Lisa. I can't do this. I can't be with someone who lies, cheats, and manipulates like this. You broke me, and I don't think I can ever trust you again. I've wasted enough time on this fake relationship." My voice was steady now, but inside I was drowning in a storm of emotions: hurt, anger, betrayal. I knew I had to walk away to start healing, even if it meant completely losing the woman I thought I loved. As I turned to go, she called after me, "You'll regret this, Mike. You'll see. I'll fix it. Just give me time." But I didn't look back. I knew I couldn't go back to that lie, that betrayal. I had to face the truth and move on. Somehow I had to find a way to rebuild myself from this mess. Because after today, everything had changed, and I was finally free of her games. That night I didn't sleep much. The house was silent except for my own thoughts pounding in my head. I kept replaying everything: the look in her eyes when she lied, the smirk, the way she dismissed everything I found. I felt numb but also somehow lighter, knowing the truth was finally out in the open. I realized that staying would only mean more lies, more betrayal. I couldn't keep pretending that she was the woman I thought I knew. The days that followed were a nightmare, honestly. I moved out of the house, took some time to clear my head. During that period, I learned more about Tom, how many times they'd been together, how long it had been going on, and just how deep her deception went. It hurt to think about all those moments I'd shared with her, believing she was faithful and committed. Meanwhile, she was out screwing my best friend, in my family's house no less, and lying about everything. I started questioning everything: my judgment, my future, what love even meant. I had trusted Lisa with everything, and she'd broken that trust without a second thought. But in the end, I knew I had to focus on myself. I couldn't keep living under the shadow of her betrayal. I needed to rebuild. I needed to find someone who actually cared about honesty and respect, not someone who saw me as a fool she could play. Looking back now, I realize this experience has changed me forever. I've become more cautious, more guarded, but also more aware of what I deserve. I don't want to be with someone who manipulates, lies, and cheats. I want real loyalty, real love. I've learned that sometimes the biggest betrayals come from the people you trust the most, and it's up to you to pick up the pieces and move on. So, for anyone out there dealing with something similar, trust your instincts. Don't ignore the signs, even if it hurts to face the truth. Because the truth, as brutal as it is, sets you free. And in the end, I know I'll be better off without her. I'll find someone who truly values me, who respects me enough to be honest. It's a hard lesson, but a necessary one. And I hope anyone else going through this finds the strength to walk away and rebuild their life. Because you deserve that much at least.